Hello everybody! Welcome back to my channel where stories and other random things take center stage and imagination is prized above all. Welcome to my first review of November and today's video. Happy Saturday. I hope you guys are having a fantastic morning and will continue to have a wonderful rest of your day. But yes, it's my first review of November and that is House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. With this, I'll be caught up with her books at the time of recording. So, exciting! I hope you guys enjoyed Blindness Awareness Month and that it all kind of went well for everything. So yeah, let's begin with the Goodreads synopsis. Bryce Quinlan and Hunt Athalar are trying to get back to normal. They may have saved Crescent City, but with so much upheaval in their lives lately, they mostly want a chance to relax, slow down, figure out what the future holds. The Asteri have kept their word so far, leaving Bryce and Hunt alone. But with the rebels chipping away at the Asteri's power, the threat the rulers pose is growing. As Bryce, Hunt, and their friends get pulled into the rebels' plans, the choice becomes clear: stay silent while others are oppressed, or fight for what's right. And they've never been very good at staying silent. In this sexy, action-packed sequel to the #1 bestseller House of Earth and Blood, Sarah J. Maas weaves a captivating story of a world about to explode and the people who will do anything to save it. Okay, so before I start, I do want to say I am going to go into some spoilers in this one because there is something I need to talk about, especially at the end. So I'm gonna go into some spoilers, so definitely. But before that, I'm gonna just make sure I give you guys my what am I thinking? Oh, okay. My spoiler free section. Awesome world. I love this book. I love it so much. There is more world building here, especially when it comes to the Asteri. There's like something at the end for them. But there is more world building here. There is a lot more that's happening, and the rebels get like a bigger picture, which I found interesting. Sophie and her narrative are one of my favorites. I found it interesting that this book started off with a prologue, so I had a lot of fun reading this book. With seeing what that came to be, and how she was basically using Sophie was really using what she had in order to save her brother, who turns out to be valuable, but only in the way that a loved one is valuable. And I thought that was really a good way to put everything together. You know what I mean? It was good. So I enjoyed it a lot. I think it was a good narrative. I liked a good narrative plot line. It went like, it kind of still stuck together, but it went away a little bit, but it kind of got stuck together, which was fine. I've seen some like mixed reviews on this book. From my understanding, I haven't fully looked at the reviews, but I loved it, so I'm okay. But I found that narrative to be interesting, and I feel like Bryce reminds me more of Aelin now, especially when she does stuff off screen and then reveals it. There are people that are bothered by this. I don't mind. I like the reveals. They're interesting. Some of the plot twists here do remind me a little bit of Throne of Glass, but again, even if you went reuse recycle, I like it, and I like these plot twists, and I think she still did it in a way that still can shock me a little bit. That can still shock me just a teeny tiny bit, and even if it's like similar, it can still kind of be shocking to me, and I am okay with that. And also I like Throne of Glass, so why would I not be okay with even if she reuses this cliche? I'm fine with it. The one thing that changes specifically in the romance, or that seems like it will change, is that Sarah J. Maas will not be switching romances. So one of the things that Sarah J. Maas does in her books, she did it in Throne of Glass 3 times. Wait, yeah, 3 times really. And in A Court of Thorns and Roses, she did it once, and that is that she would start off with a specific romance, and then for one reason or another, the romance changes. Like the person that the main character ends up with changes. For example, in Throne of Glass, there was first a romance with Dorian, really more of a love triangle really with Dorian and Chaol. Then she ended up with Chaol for a time. Then at the end, she ended up with Rowan. That was her last romance / her mate. In A Court of Thorns and Roses, it was with Tamlin first, and it was with Rhysand, who ended up being her mate. And now in Crescent City, it seems like Hunt will be the only one. It seems like Hunt will be everything, because it turns out Hunt, I'm gonna go into spoilers now, by the way, is her mate, and it's like, I mean, they chose to be together, but it's kind of like Fae mates, apparently. It's like he behaved like one, which I thought was interesting. One of the things I liked, by the way, is Adis's story and the way that the whole thing with Queen Thea. I genuinely want to find out more about that. It sounds awesome. It turns out, if it looks like Thea got pushed into this world, and it seems like it's from Prythian, based on what was being said, and based on the fact that it seems like it's a world that the Asteri wanted to conquer. So, a thing that comes up is that the Asteri turn out to be world conquerors. Like, they conquered different worlds in Midgard, and the people in Midgard are basically like immigrants from another world. And it turns out that one of the worlds they even tried to conquer was Hell, and it turns out it's like Hell itself is a planet, and they could not conquer Hell. Hell was not like allured by their enchantments, and it turns out the Asteri are basically powerless, which I thought was awesome. I found it interesting to have like the overlords be just people that are powerless and have to take power from First and Second Light, really, which I thought was interesting. We do learn about Second Light. We learn about where the dead actually go in this end, and it turns out it was nothing like this. I enjoyed seeing Hypaxia again. It was interesting. I feel like her and Rune are going to be friends rather than end up together. Although Rune's future seems to be kind of at a standstill, because the Oracle predicts that the royal bloodline will end with Rune. So I have theories on that, but he either thinks he's either not going to have children or he's going to die. So that's like the one thing that Rune specifically thinks. But I wonder if that's going to be a little bit different now, or if there's just going to be no royalty. Like, Bryce is a princess in this book. She becomes a princess, but I wonder if she's and Rune wants her to be queen of the Fae in order to end her father's ruling, because, well, their father is basically a coward and an idiot and more things. So that's something that Rune wants. But the question is, how is this going to affect everything? You know what I mean? How's this going to work? But it sounds like if it ends with Rune, I don't think he's going to die, because it wouldn't end with him, since Bryce would still be a princess, unless the Autumn King decides not to put her as an heir. And I doubt he can make Cormac his heir, since it seems like he dies at the end. So that's something. So I feel like there has to be something later between Prythian and the Fae of Midgard. Specifically meaning like that it seems like royalty itself will not be a thing, and that it's likelier that they will probably, I wonder if the Fae will be like taken into Prythian or something, and be be taken by like the High Lords, the court or something, or they'll form an 8th court and Bryce will be like High Lady or something. So instead of that, like, I wonder if that's gonna be a thing. That'd be awesome, because at the end of House of Sky and Breath, when Bryce makes all these discoveries about the Austeri and how they basically have conquered all these worlds, it turns out, and they have no power, and they're trying to feed off this power. It seems like they have some type of revenge on Prythian, and that the fake originally came from Prythian. And that it seems like there are two different kinds of Fae, which I want to know more about. I need to reread this book to just get everything, but like I want to know more about. If there are two different kinds of Fae. So it seems like the Throne of Glass World is one of them, and Prythian is another. So, but it seems like both of them have they all have shifting powers in general. But it turns out that the shifters were originally Fae, which I thought was interesting as well. They're originally Fae. And by the end, in an escape, in an attempt to find help, thinking that she was going to go to hell to get help from Adis, she ends up going to Prythian and ends up in the Night Court and seems to be found by Azrael. And she meets Amryn and Rhys, who are the only ones that speak her old language. It turns out she's the only one that speak that the old Fae language has not been spoken in Prythian for the last 15,000 years, which I'm pretty sure is the time that Amryn was also there. As well, and it turns out her and Rhysand are the only ones that know it because Rhysand was educated at it. And at the end, the what really confirms it is when Rhysand just says, "Hello, Bryce Quinlan, I am Rhysand." You know what's interesting? I always kind of imagined Rhysand with this deep voice for some reason. I always imagined Rhysand going "Hello, Bryce Quinlan, I am Rhysand." That is how I always imagined it, even if, narrators voice him differently. Because Rhysand has been voiced by... hold on. Jennifer, 2, 3, 4 narrators. He has generally been voiced by 4 narrators. And I don't know. Interesting. I just find it interesting. So that's what really confirmed it for me. And it seems like Hunt has been made a slave again of the Austeri. So I want to know what they're going to do to him. Not to mention Rune. And also I want to talk about the romance in these books. In this specific book. They're awesome. I found the romances interesting, especially I like Hunt and Bryce are okay. I feel like it's a good romance for them, although I wonder how that's going to go in the next few books, especially now that they're mated. I don't find myself too much of a disconnect. I saw a vlog where someone was finding a disconnect, but I was pretty much okay with Bryce and Hunt in this book. I don't know. I felt like I do feel like with him though, I feel like he isn't doing too much. He isn't making Bryce stronger. He's taking more of the part of the love interest a little bit more than anything else. And the things that he's doing, he's not doing much to progress her character, not to mention the story. But I still like their romance. My favorite romance of the book, my favorite 2 romances, but my favorite romance of the book definitely has to do with Rune and Agent Daybright. I loved it. They even had mental sex, I guess you would call it. There was even a mental sex scene. It was interesting. So when I started reading the book and Agent Daybright was introduced by Cormac and everything, I thought that Agent Daybright was originally Celestina, because Celestina seemed like the one an archangel that would work for the rebels. Celestina seemed much better than Micah. So Celestina was the one who I genuinely thought would have been Agent Daybright, and everything. She was nice and really interesting, and although she disappointed me a little at the end, I did understand the reasons why she did what she did, and I feel like she'll be forgiven. By Hunt, Bryce, and everybody else, really. So I really did think it was Celestina. But then Bryce and Hunt discovered her in a very compromising position with Hypaxia. Turns out that they are lovers, and that Celestina seems to be into women. So I were like, okay, it's not Celestina, then who is it? And I was shocked to find out that it was genuinely the Hind working with him. So I bring in a lot of questions. And another Throne of Glass reference, by the way, is Rune's reaction to the Hind being Agent Daybright. It's very similar to Adian's reaction when Lysandra and Aelin came up with a plan to make sure that Terrasen still had a queen in Lysandra, and she would just look like Aelin pretty much for the rest of her life. So yeah, similar reaction at the end, and I was just like, interesting, cool. But it seems like, you know, Pollux and the Hind, as like, they're lovers, but he definitely hurts her. And it seems like the Hind did it willingly, though, to get information for the rebels. It became this, like, she basically became this, like, badly known figure. It also turns out that the Hind is Hypaxia's sister, which I thought was interesting. So, definitely have questions. Now, questions I have. Is Throne of Glass going to make an appearance? Is a Court of Thorns and is Prythian like a mirror of Midgard in a way? Because apparently Rhysand looks like Rune, and she always confused it for Rune, which I thought was very interesting. And Rune seems to have Daemati powers, and I'm like, okay, if he has Daemati powers, because he can, like, unlike Rhys can read minds, but apparently Rune can, like, only do telepathy, but it seems to have, like, Daemati powers. So are Rune's powers not what they seem? Adis also hints at the fact that Bryce and Hunt have not discovered the full potential of their power. So what exactly does that mean for them? How is that gonna work? I need to know all of this. Please, Mrs. Sarah J. Maas, release a book soon. I need to know. I also want to know definitely the theories that are coming up out of this. But, like, there is so much. Another layer of the story, because there's, like, so many layers, is that Danica was still hiding secrets. Like, we didn't know all her secrets in the first book. And I was like, Danica, how many secrets did you hide? I thought you were the first, you know, that Bryce was your best friend, but I can see why she wanted to protect her friends, considering how, you know, Bryce as a half-human was treated and how most humans in general were treated by Vanir. I can see why she was what she was trying to do, but I'm like, Danica! But also, all these secrets with Danica were so interesting, like the fact that she was Baxian's mate, and she somehow found a way to, like, cover her scent. And I guess she would know because she also is a bloodhound and had bloodhound abilities that she got from Mordok, I think is his name, who turns out to be the Hind's second and is basically, you know, he has that ability. And it turns out he only visited her once, but Danica was just like, I don't want to see you. And I mean, Sabine was all, like, it turns out Ethan knew about it, Connor knew about it, and probably I'm assuming the rest of the Pack of Devils knew about it too, but it's like everybody knew but Bryce. And it turns out Fury is a thing here, is something I liked, is someone who also has a bit of a romance dynamic here with Juniper. I love them. Now, I want to say this, Sarah J. Maas has usually really good romances, so before I continue, Sarah J. Maas usually has really good romances, but the ones we usually get to see written on the page are the male-female romances. Miss Sarah Janet Maas, I would love for you to write a female-female romance, because I think you'd be wonderful at it too. So, like, she has all these wonderful female-female romances. I want her to, like, write one on the page. One that isn't completely off-screen. One that we can just see. I want to see that. I want to see that on page. I want to see it. I want to see the date. Maybe she'll take advantage and do it with Moore, which I think would be awesome. But I'm just saying, since Moore is bi, and she also, like, but she expressed a higher liking to women, so maybe she'll do it with Moore. But I'm just curious on that. So Yeah. So yeah, turns out that's a thing. So it turns out Fury found out, no, Danica found out something dangerous about Fury, and Fury found out something dangerous about her. So we know that Fury knew that Danica was a bloodhound, which is probably like the dangerous part. But what did Danica know of Fury? Because Fury is a mysterious character as well in these books. She's kind of like Elaine, except I like Fury a little bit more than I like Elaine. And people are afraid of Fury. So what is she? Is she kind of like Amryn? Because the vlogger I also watched, I think her channel is Mel's Reads. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But the 1 hour and something vlog that I watched, she said she had like a theory that Fury was kind of like Amryn. And I'm wondering if that's true because we don't know anything about her. Are Fury and Amryn like similar in ways? I am super curious. One of the things that came up is that it turns out that the Star Sword was Gladian, I think is what the name they call it. And it turns out that it seems to be the twin to Truth Teller, which I thought was really interesting, and I need to understand how that works as well. Is Azrael then going to be involved in this war? That I feel like Prithian is definitely going to be involved in in this world war, because since Faye originally came from Prithian, but the question is how did they go into this different world? It kind of sounds like Thea maybe got dragged into this, or that Thea got killed and her sister Helena. Because the thing that they said is that the Starborn bloodline was only put in the bloodline. Queen Thea was killed by Pollux. I think it's Pollux? No, I forgot his name. Peleus. By Prince Peleus. And he took the title of firstborn, the first Starborn. And he ended up marrying Queen Helena. And that's how he Queen Helena, and and that's how the bloodline kind of started. But it turns out she's the one that had it, and he basically kind of put it in there through assault. And I'm like, oh God, like I felt bad for that queen. But yeah, it's interesting. There's so much. By the end, I was genuinely left speechless, especially finding out that there is another Fenrir heir besides Sabine and Danica. So I thought that was also really interesting, and that the Fenrir heir was a mystic, and that she was basically a slave, and that I love Ethan at the end, like, we're not like this, like, we're wolves, we don't leave our packs, right? And he in the end just broke into the mystic's thing and just got her out, and like she just woke up, and like I'm just like, yes, I want to see this. Turns out we also saw a dragon in this book, and I'm just like, she calls herself Ariadne, and I'm like, call her whatever you like, you're a dragon, you're cool, I want to see that. And Flynn seemed to have liked her, so a Flynn and dragon romance sounds great. There's so many things that sound really good, and so many things that I have questions about, but like that's it. Like, those are just my rambled thoughts. So if you have any thoughts on this, like, give me your thoughts in the comments. If you have any questions on this, any thoughts, any theories, give me all of it. I'm interested. I hope by the time that you're seeing this, I hope that we have whatever will be the next book that's going to be coming from Sarah J. Maas, whether it's something from ACOTAR or Crescent City. If whatever it comes up, I feel like it might be interesting. I feel like it could be Crescent. I feel like it could be it could go either way. ACOTAR seems more likely, only because to write House of Sky and Breath, it took, like, for the release of that, it took 2 years. So it's possible that it would actually be ACOTAR, but we never know. You know what I mean? Never know. I'm okay with either one. I'm looking forward to the next book for sure. I'm looking forward to everything Sarah J. Maas. I think we know this. I'm just like looking forward to it because this woman is a queen. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you're interested in more content, subscribe and turn on notifications so you're aware the moment I post videos. I'll be back next week, but I don't know what I'll be reviewing yet. So yeah, I will be back next Saturday at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with a new video. And until then, consume stories like Crescent City.